So this is Susan. I'm Susan Robertson. I am the founder, or one of the founders, and a managing partner of Linceis Conscious Business. Welcome to Lunch with Linceis. Today we're having a discussion on empowerment and inspiration and how to build trust and performance. And joining me is Cynthia Medaglia.
Hi, everyone. I'm a managing partner of Linceis Conscious Business. Good to be with you today. Many people ask us, what does Linceis mean? Linceis is a Latin for keen insights. We help businesses reimagine and reinvent so they can optimize their culture, develop their leaders and employees, thus accelerating their business results. But mostly, we help people.
So this chart really sort of shows our experience, but mostly it shows our age. And we've been very lucky for over the last 30-some years that we've been able to travel the world, meet with leaders, talk with leaders, work with them at many different companies and with many different cultures.
So let's get started. As we said, this is more of a discussion today. We're talking about creating trust, empowerment, inspiration, and performance. If you don't mind, please go ahead and put in the chat your thoughts to the following. As a leader, what is the most important thing you can do to create empowered people and an empowered culture? What is the most important thing you can do to create empowered people and an empowered culture?
Trust.
Okay.
Yes, developing trust is extremely important to creating an empowered culture. What else? What else do we have out there? Just trust? I know for me, the ability to let go is really important. Cindy, what about you? What's one of the most important things for you?
Yeah, letting go is definitely one that resonates with me because I'm a bit of a control freak. I like to do everything myself. So trust, letting go, and really just giving the gift of letting my people know that I believe in them.
Great. I'm not sure if you guys just recognize that, but I have gone offline a bit, although I have called in. And so one of the most important things you can do to create an empowered people and empowered culture, yes, is develop trust. It's about letting go. And so thank you for all these great answers. I don't know, Cindy, if you can pull up the PowerPoint and take over.
Okay.
And so what I want to share with you today, and as soon as Cindy gets the PowerPoint up, is I want to share with you our circle of trust and empowerment. And to empower, to inspire, to create trust and performance, you need to ensure you have 4 conditions. And again, I'm sorry that my PowerPoint has gone out and that my Zoom has gone out. And so if you want to write these down, the 4 conditions are capability, responsibility, authority, and accountability. If any one of these conditions are missing, you won't have trust or empowerment, and you certainly won't have performance. So Cindy, I'm not sure if you got the PowerPoint back up yet because I'm flying blind here. But if you could talk a little bit more about the, I'm just looking at my PowerPoint here, talk a little bit more about what it means to have capability and authority.
Yes, I am screen sharing, so I think everyone's back on task being able to see my screen with our circle of trust and empowerment. What I'm sharing with you is a fundamental component of empowering others is determining, are they truly capable? In a work environment, there are business intelligence attributes and emotional intelligence attributes that determine the individual's level of capability. which impacts really how much authority you wish to give them or what type of decisions you want them to make. So let me give you an example. We are working with a team of individuals who are skilled and capable to do the job and make decisions and execute with really no issue. This particular team we would consider to be completely capable. They have the business intelligence as well as the emotional intelligence. However, the leader is very controlling, like worse than me, in the sense that he does not give them the authority to make decisions, to solve problems. Everything has to go through him. He does not give them any authority. As a result, the team is inefficient. They have to stop and check with the leader every time before they can make a decision. Now, the opposite can be true. We're working with another leader that has a customer service team, and this leader likes to give away the authority. She likes to delegate, sure, go ahead and do it. But the problem is she doesn't assess how capable these people are, but has no problem trying to hold them accountable if they underperform. She doesn't develop them either. Both of these cases and these examples are recipes for disaster.
Perfect.
Yes, I've been at the effect of that. Am I coming through okay?
I'm getting feedback. Echo. So in the chat, if you guys don't mind, please put into the chat what you think the cost is to companies when leaders give authority without assessing capability. And what is the cost when the individuals are capable, however, not given the authority to make these decisions? So if you could put that in the chat. Again, what is the cost to companies when leaders give authority without assessing capability? And what is the cost when the individuals are perfectly capable, however, you're not giving them the authority to make the decisions?
Yes, exactly. You get do-overs or workarounds. People are too slow, lost opportunity. Exactly. Yeah, and both do not develop opportunities. Or associates, I'm sorry. Looks like now we lost Cindy. Oh my gosh. We are having some fun today, aren't we? Poor decisions. Exactly. Anything else that we can see? Okay, so I'm going to be bringing my PowerPoint back up. And share. It looks like we are both having, oh, there she is again. So thank you for sharing all of that. Cindy, are you sharing now again, or shall I? I'm sharing.
Yeah, if you could share, that would be awesome. Thank you.
We are so sorry about this. Play from current slide. So can you all see this? If somebody can give me a thumbs up, that'd be great. Poor decisions. Okay, I see that. Poor decisions. Don't develop associates. And okay, great. So this is what we like to call the circle of trust and empowerment. And what Cindy just shared with you is all the situations around capability and authority, or not all of them, but some of them that can occur. And what you're now sharing with us is some of the things that you've seen as a result of lack of people, assessing capability correctly, as well as the lack of holding people, giving people the authority. So higher turnover, lower productivity, and lower decision making. So the next thing that we want to talk about is how we normalize substandard performance, which is really interesting because most of us don't want to create substandard performance. And so I've been working with a leader, and what he likes to do is he likes to empower people. He likes to give them the responsibility. He likes to give them the authority, but he doesn't like to hold people accountable. The other thing that is difficult for him is that he doesn't always assess capability well. He thinks he's empowering, but as I've been coaching him, I've been saying, no, you're abdicating. And abdicating is different than empowering people. So he believes so much in their capabilities without fully assessing them and without fully evaluating their skills, that what happens is that they get in trouble and they don't go to him. And what we've been seeing, and one of the pieces of feedback that he's gotten from his co-leaders, or I mean his peers, is that the decision making, he's too far away. And so these people are making decisions, very poor decisions, which again is causing some of the things that you put here in terms of poor decision making, lack of teamwork, things like that. But as a result, not only are they making bad decisions, he doesn't hold them accountable for reaching their deadlines. He doesn't hold them accountable for their commitments. And what's really happening for him, and this was the thing that we sort of got a hold of when I was working with him, is that this is the tricky part about holding people accountable, is that you have to tell the truth. And truth telling isn't always that easy because it means conflict. And so when we looked at what it was that was really holding him back from being effective, was that he wasn't truth telling. So if you really want to hold people accountable, you really need to set expectations and be really clear about that. You need to inspect what you expect, and you need to measure performance. And you have to address conflict and go into places that you may not be comfortable with. So once again, if you don't mind putting in the chat, what do you think the cost is of not holding people accountable? And I'm going to share with you what this is costing this company, besides sort of the poor decision making and lower performance. So if you can go ahead and put in the chat, as we said, this was a conversation not just between Cindy and me, but between Cindy, you, and us, about what you're seeing out there in terms of the cost of not holding people accountable. Exactly, missed business results. We're certainly seeing that in this team, because when these people aren't reaching their goals and they're not following through on commitments, then other parts of the organization aren't able to follow through on their piece. Exactly. We see, Dan, thank you. We see loss of revenue. This is an operations team, so they're not really revenue driven, but they are cost driven. So we see costs going up. There's a lack of cohesion to the strategy, exactly, because he's not holding them accountable to the capabilities that they need to be held accountable to, and then underperforming teamwork, exactly. And with this group, we're actually starting to see turnover. But again, what was really misleading is that when we went into his culture scores and when we went into his leadership scores, he got high scores. And where the information came out was with his peer group, that his team was not playing ball well with the other parts of the organization where they had interdependence. And so then as a result, they weren't supporting the people they needed to support. That makes sense? I hope so. So that's, really how you create substandard performance and behavior, is go ahead and miss one of these 4 elements, and you'll end up sub-optimizing yourself as well as your teams. So if you really want to create trust and empowerment, improve performance, what you will want to do is you make sure you use all 4 elements. And the very first thing you do is, where do I start? Start with yourself. So number 1 is improve your self-awareness, improve your emotional intelligence, improve your ability to understand your own biases and unconscious bias. Now, it's hard to understand your unconscious bias because it's unconscious, right? In the two examples that we just gave, both leaders need to increase their emotional intelligence in order to change how they are leading and impacting performance when you look at those 4 elements that we shared with you, okay? So the one leader that I'm working with right now, in terms of his ability to assess other people's capability and his ability to have truth-telling conversations, that's where we started with trying to improve performance within his group. Step two, what you need to do is actually ask yourself, what fears and concerns do I have? In the case of this client of mine, we had to take a look at what he was afraid of. So what are we afraid of? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of failure? When you think of Cindy's client that she shared, certainly there is a fear of failure and loss of control. In the terms of my client, there's a fear of conflict and having people not like him. And I mean, this is a pretty senior leader inside of the organization who's still dealing with these fears. So what you want to do is figure out, what fears do I have, and not act from them, but actually move out of the comfort zone, because fear can keep you in a comfort zone. Don't act from fear. Face the fear, but don't act from fear. And then the third thing is then do an evaluation. What holds you back from implementing the complete circle of trust and empowerment? And so we did this recently. We did this recently with a client of ours who we were taking a look at his entire team to be able to say, okay, who's ready for the next level and what do we need to do? Well, one of the things he had to recognize is he was one of those really nice guys. He actually has a high performing team, but he didn't have anyone ready to step into his role. And so we went back through and we took a look at all four of those elements in himself to make sure of where his unconscious biases were. And then we went through each one of the team members so that he could fully understand what their capabilities are, how much responsibility was he giving them, what were they taking on, how much authority was he giving them, what were they actually taking on, and then how well was he holding them accountable. And that led to an epiphany for him in terms of how he could actually improve the performance and raise the performance of the team. And as a friend of mine, my husband, says, if you work on all of these things, all the boats will rise together.
So there's just so much more that we can say about the importance of these key components of the circle of trust and empowerment. However, our time is nearly up, and we apologize for all of our technical difficulties today. There will be more information about these four components in our blog, which will be available at the end of the month. We want to thank you for your participation and your patience with us. But before we go, we're wondering if you'd be willing to share two more things in the chat. The first one being, what was the most important takeaway from our discussion today, and how will you implement this learning? So the first thing is, what is the most important takeaway from our discussion when we're talking about the circle of trust and empowerment?
And that's key, is not only, awareness is first, right, Cindy?
Mm-hmm.
And then, awareness is great, but if you don't take the next step, then the awareness is really not useful. So if I had an awareness, then what am I going to do with that awareness? Okay, assessing capabilities, balancing the four components, that's great. That understanding the key to empowerment is starting with self-awareness. Exactly. I mean, that's why we start with leadership. Those are the building blocks. And that impacts culture. I mean, we do know how much leaders impact culture. So if we're able to, as a leader, really assess ourselves, then we can improve the culture. Thank you, Kim. Yes, know yourself first. Was it Socrates that said, know thyself is one of the most important things that you can do, and then measure the improvement. Yes, and inspect what you expect. Be willing to go into that discomfort zone, and mindfully applying to the situation. Oh, great. Yes. Please, Phil, let us know how that goes.
So the second thing we'd like to hear is, or learn from you, is, could you list in the chat any other topics that you think you'd like Sue and I to discuss or share with you in our future webinars? Anything like that would be great. We would be completely grateful. Yes, the power of empathy.
Okay.
It's a good one.
That's a good one. It's important in business. We were just talking with a client the other day, and they were saying there are three things that, particularly with COVID right now and what's happening around the world, they were very interested in people feeling like they had a community, psychological safety, that leaders were empathizing with the employees and what they were going through because of such a big, how different it is today. So diversity, equity, inclusion, or how to create that true sense of belonging. Exactly. That's something we keep hearing from people, the DEI as they call it. Anything else that you would like for us to talk about, give little quick tips or tools? All right. Gain buy-in in the corporate setting. Okay. Yes, that's not always easy, particularly if you're trying to get buy-in to budgets or changes to culture or trying to get your peer to play well with you. So absolutely we can do that. Having tough conversations. Yeah, we teach that one a lot. Sometimes that one starts with self-awareness and a big deep breath. Implicit bias. Exactly. So this is great. This will help us as we look at, we're actually rebranding Lunch with Linceis to Linceis Live starting next year. And so we appreciate the things that you're putting in the chat here, and we will look to add those and to our list of topics that we can talk about. So back to you, Cindy.
I think it's really appropriate that we're changing the name from Lunch with Linceis to Linceis Live, because Lord knows we were live today when we had some of our technical difficulties. So, so we just want to say thank you so much. Please join us next month. We're going to be talking about community, belonging, and love in our lives and in our work. Please invite others to join us as well. And if you need any help with the Trust and Empowerment Circle, please contact us at info@lcbgroup.com. Thank you again for your time and your attention, and have a great day.